I have a really important story here for you that shows you the way politics really functions in America. So there's a direct ballot initiative in California to help lower drug prices. And there's an all-out war being waged against it for obvious reasons and by exactly who you would expect to wage the war. So The Intercept explains here. Proposition 61 is designed to allow California state agencies that pay for prescription drugs, such as the state Medicaid program and the state prison system, to pay the same or lower prices as listed by the Federal Department of Veterans Affairs, which uses its collective bargaining power to negotiate for better rates. Many argue that the state could win significant discounts, given that the VA pays up to 42% less than Medicare, according to a recent analysis. The drug industry, led by its lobbying giant, the Pharmaceutical Research and Manufacturers of America, is furiously attempting to defeat Proposition 61, fearing that if the measure succeeds in California, the largest Medicaid market, similar ideas could spread to other states and embolden politicians already facing pressure to act on the national level. To snuff out the drug price revolt, Pharma has raised an astounding $109 million from its member companies, including Pfizer, Merck, Purdue Pharma, Johnson & Johnson, and other drug firms. The no on Prop 61 war chest has been used to buy a seemingly endless stream of digital and broadcast advertisements across the state. A portion of the drug industry fund has been used to influence critical endorsements. All right, so do you understand what's going on here? To put it very simply, there's this proposition which allows the government to pay less for the same drugs. Now, they're not doing that in an irrational way or an unreasonable way. This is something that we know the pharmaceutical companies can afford to do because they're already doing it with the VA. The VA is allowed to use their collective bargaining power to negotiate for lower prices for the drugs. So the deals that they reach are just the same deals that these state agencies, these government agencies want. So what they're saying is, look, we're not coming in there and saying we want it under your cost. We're not coming in there and saying we're trying to bankrupt you. We're just saying we want the same deal as the VA. And this would save a lot of money, and it would make it so these drugs are less expensive, and these are life-saving drugs in many cases. So as a result of that, pharmaceutical companies know, hey, we're really going to get our profits cut here. So what we need to do is fight tooth and nail to keep those profits. So they pump $109 million into deceptive ads and into getting endorsements so that you muddy the waters and make it so that people thought they knew what the proposition was about, but then there are lies now saying, oh no, this'll, I think they said raise the price for veterans drugs, which is just not true and nowhere near true. But they run these ads basically implying, hey, if you're in favor of this, you want to hurt our troops. So this is how politics really functions in America. When you allow, private spending and spending from corporations and billionaires on the political process, and you say that equals speech, and it's free speech, so you can't ever crack down on free speech, well, then what happens? They can run ads that are as deceptive as they want and make you think, oh my God, I'm voting the wrong way on this when you're voting the right way on it. So they're circling the wagons and lying and smearing in an attempt to win, and all that's happening here is, if indeed they do win, the prices for drugs are still just going to be far too high. The United States of America, we pay way more than every other modern nation for our drugs. Why? Because of shit like this and how the pharmaceutical company has a stranglehold on our government. It's the same thing for Medicare. How the federal government is not allowed to negotiate for better prices for the drugs with the pharmaceutical companies. That is literally a deal cut. The Bush administration cut the deal, and then the Obama administration continued the deal. They said, yeah, all right, whatever. We'll just continue to fork over, hordes of cash to you, even though it's unnecessary, and we'll let you just keep price gouging the shit out of us, and we'll codify it into law. Unreal. This is fucking crazy. So we finally have, at the state level, they're pushing back against it. Somebody's trying to get, this proposition passed, which makes it so that, the state agencies just pay the same as the VA, and there's an all-out assault and onslaught against it. Because this is the pharmaceutical companies holding on for dear life, trying to continue to rob the shit out of you. I mean, the real solution to this is not just to defeat the pharmaceutical companies in this aspect, but it's also you got to get the money out of the system. Because unless and until you get the money out of the system, you're always going to have these moneyed interests run deceptive ads on these issues. We saw the same thing happen in, I think it was Florida, for medical marijuana. I think they defeated a medical marijuana direct ballot initiative. And they did it by lying. You had people, buy ads, as billionaires buy ads who are against it and say, oh, yeah, no, this isn't really about legalizing medical marijuana. And they, made it seem whatever. It's about raping your kids or something. Please don't vote for this. And then they ended up winning. I think they won by a slim margin. At the same time, when in every other place around the country, the marijuana direct ballot initiatives passed. So, but where you had the deceptive ads running, it lost. This is what we're up against. So we got to get the money out of the system, and we have to be clear that money does not equal free speech. That's an insane idea, that by that logic, the person who has the most money has the most free speech. Why should Sheldon Adelson have any more free speech than her grandma in Cleveland? He shouldn't. And money is not speech. If money is speech, I've said it before, but somebody should be able to go buy crystal meth. Go to a prostitute. Why? I'm not actually buying sex. This is speech, so I'm just expressing how much I like sex. Free speech, what are you going to do? But no, they've carved it out just for the political system. Like, oh, well, legalized bribery isn't bribery because speech or something. Anybody buying this? All right, anyway, this is the way the system works. It's so great. Well, no, now you have moneyed interests who have bought the government. And now you have them allowed to run these deceptive ads, these insane ads trying to get people to vote against their best interest. Horrible idea. And you have to vote yes on Proposition 61 if you're in California, because it's the right thing to do. It'll save money, and it's better for the people. It's better for the people, and it's not like you're putting the pharmaceutical companies out of business. You're not. You're still paying them a reasonable amount of money. You're paying them the same amount of money that the VA pays. So this is basically a proposition that is either, are you in favor of price gouging from pharmaceutical companies or not?